guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim. This is my October TBR. So I decided this month that I would just play TBR Trail like I have been doing before. I was trying to change the way I played so that then I could like roll as the month went along, and then it dawned on me that it didn't matter if I rolled 4 rolls at the start of the month rather than like throughout the month, because, you know, if I don't finish one, I don't finish one, and also I can change the book if I want to, as long as it fits the prompt. So I can still mood read. I can just be a bit more lenient with the books and say I can switch out throughout the month if I'm finding something too difficult to complete. So yes, and it's more fun for me to play all at once. So that's what we're doing today. Last month was completely kind of taken over with Becca's Book-O.W.Lathon. So I was reading Life 3.0 by Max Tegmark, and I'm still reading it and I'm still really enjoying it, and I will be carrying it over into this month as well, and it will not count for one of the rolls for TBR Trail for the month of October. So I did change one thing about the board, and that was to change the section that is like counts as 20 books in 2020. I changed that to free choice because the only books I have left on my TBR for 20 books in 2020 are all non-fiction, and it's just getting me down. I'm kind of sick of looking at the pile. I don't really want to read half of the books on there anymore. I still have them and I will still have it in mind for the rest of the year, but I just wanted to change the board. Okay, so I think that's pretty much everything I've got to say at the beginning, so on to the first roll. So last month we ended on purple, so now it is the red scroll's turn. And a 4, so they can come out, which is good. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So for this prompt, it has to be both a STEM and a fiction book. And we have read a book with red on the cover. Okay, so the first roll got me read a book with a red on the cover somewhere, and it has to be STEM, science, technology, mathematics, engineering kind of based, and fiction. So any kind of fiction books with elements from those things. What I've decided to do for this prompt is try and finish the audiobook for Red Rising by Pierce Brown. So this is like a science fiction kind of dystopian novel. It's a series actually, and I know it's like well loved by so many people. I have listened to the like first hour, 2 hours of the audiobook, but I couldn't really get into it. But I think I've just hit the point of the story where the actual adventure is kind of going to kick off. So the beginning bit was a bit of like learning about what's going on in the world. It's basically set in a world where there are kind of tiers of humans. So the reds are like the lowest level of human, and then the golds are like the absolute top level of humans, which I guess they're treated like gods almost. I think again, I've only read like a couple of hours of it, so I definitely need to get back into it. So yeah, that's what I'll be reading for that prompt. And on to roll number 2. Okay, so time for roll number 2. 1, so none of the blue scrolls can come out. 3, so the black scrolls can't come out. Purple, 4. So 2 scrolls can't be on the same square at the same time, so I'm going to have to move this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have another colour one. Read a book with purple on the cover. Okay, so roll number 2 brought me another STEM book that has to have purple on the cover. It was loving the colours this month. And for that, at the moment, I had like 4 different books with purple on the cover that fit in the STEM category, but I've decided to go for Empire of the Stars by Arthur I. Miller. So this book follows the astrophysicist Chandra, who was the first person to come up with a mathematical description of black holes. And this is just the biography about him and about the troubles he had with people kind of buying his theory, and the kind of clash he had with Arthur Eddington, who was like one of the biggest astrophysicists of the day. I actually read the prologue to this during a tri-chapter tag I did about astrophysics and astronomy, which I can leave in the description if you wanted to check it out. And I really enjoyed just the prologue, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. It is a bit of a thick book, so that does worry me a little bit with other things I have to read this month. But I do always have the option to switch it out for a smaller one during the month if I want to. But I am really eager to get to this one. It is definitely a story that I want to know more about. Okay, so on to roll number 3. It's time for roll number 3. And we're back with the reds. Team Red. Oh, so can't take a new one out, but I can move this guy. 1, 2, 3. And it's a candle. I haven't had a candle for so long. I can't remember which pot it is. I think it's the middle one. Oh, I got 2 there. Let's put 1 back. So, oh, okay, this is interesting. I have read one of Spencer's books. Okay, so roll number 3, I got read one of Spencer's books, and it has to be fiction, which makes it a lot easier because I don't think he has anything with STEM related in his collection of books. So the book that I've picked for myself from his collection is one that he does really want me to read, and it's The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Yeah, so Spence read this book as a teenager, I think, and really enjoyed it, so he does want me to read it, definitely. And I did kind of start reading it at some point, and I got like 10 pages in and stopped. So, yeah, I don't massively know what this is about, and for some reason it doesn't have a blurb on it. It is like a well-known classic though, so probably you do know what it is about. But it follows like a young guy who's at school, and I think he is disrespectful to people. This is my assumptions about this book, because I know some people love this book and some people hate this book. So from my impressions of why people hate this book, seems to be because the guy's obnoxious. I don't know if that's true, or maybe I've mixed it up with another classic, but I feel like that's true. That's not useful information for you though. But yeah, I'm eager to give this a go just to see where I fall with regards to what I think about the book. And whether or not I like it, or whether or not I'm going to really judge Spencer for liking it. We'll see. Okay, so on to the final roll for October. And the final roll for October, we're back with the blues. 4, so I can pull one of these guys out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is free choice and fiction. I think this month is going rather nicely for me. Okay, so that is another one of these guys. So let's pull this one. And we have read your highest rated book on Goodreads. Okay, so I've reordered all my books that I own, and I have to come across the top fiction book that I have. So these are all non-fiction books that I have. And I knew it would happen because these are rated so highly. But The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson has 4.45 stars on Goodreads. But if you look, you can see that it's tied with Game of Thrones at 4.45 as well. So as soon as this prompt rocked up, which had to be fiction and free choice, but the free choice in this case doesn't override the fiction part, it just makes it a bit easier to choose a book because you really only have to fit it to one specification. I knew it was going to be a massive fantasy because I knew that I had big fantasy books on my physical TBR. So basically what I've decided to do is not pick the Brandon Sanderson one, The Final Empire. Obviously I do own it, it's on my TBR. But I'm not going to pick that one this month because I'm currently listening to Elantris, which is not... It doesn't matter what order you read the books, I think, in the world that Brandon Sanderson has made. But Elantris was the first book set in his world. So you don't have to read that first, but I want to read it first. Which means that on my October TBR is A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I would be upset about this because it is massive. It's almost 1,000 pages, I think. No, it's nowhere near 1,000 pages. It's like 790, but that's still a lot. Yeah, I would be mad about this, but during lockdown, Spencer and I watched Game of Thrones for the first time. So we pretty much watched all 8 seasons over lockdown. And when we finished, because it took me a while to get into it, took me a couple of seasons to get into it, and then by the end, apart from being furious as to how it ended, I loved it. I was hooked, but it took me a while. And then I was so eager to pick this up. If you don't know what Game of Thrones is, it's basically like about a whole bunch of different families all vying for their place on the Iron Throne. Everybody seems to have a reason as to why they should sit on the Iron Throne and why they should rule. Yeah, and it's really good. And I know that there are differences between the book and the TV program, so I'm super eager to find out what that is. Okay, so those are all the 4 books that TBR Trail chose for me this month. I can change them throughout the month, like I said before, if I decide to read something else, apart from Game of Thrones, because that's set in stone basically, unless I want to change it to Brandon Sanderson, which I won't. yeah, everything else is kind of interchangeable, so we'll see what I end up reading by the end of the month. There are actually three other books that I'm trying to read in October as well. The first is for my friends and family book club, and we're reading Girl, Woman, Other, and I'm really not very far into that one, and I have to have that done by Sunday. Today's Wednesday, so I've got time to read it, it's not massively long. Then the second book that I'm finishing is The Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. I am further into it than this. I'm listening to it on audio as well as kind of reading it every now and then. So I need to get this done, and that's massive as well. And then after this one, I basically need to pick up straight away the next one, which is, I'll show you, The Mad Ship, which is even longer. But then if I need to read this in November and not October, then that's absolutely fine. And the final book I'll be reading in October is Unbowed by Mangari Matai, which I'm reading for my book club on here. So yeah, there's so much to be reading in October, but I'm actually feeling pretty positive about it. I think the rule of me being able to switch up books as long as they fit the prompts is good. That makes me feel positive. Yeah, so these are the books that I'll be reading, hopefully, in October. Plus 2 more, Girl, Woman, Other, and Red Rising too. But Red Rising is an audiobook, so that's not so bad. So yeah, that's everything from me this month. Hope you guys are all enjoying working out what you're going to be reading in October. I look forward to chatting to you down in the comments. Take care guys, bye.